CNBC is out this morning with our annual list of NHL valuations. The average NHL team is now worth $2.2 billion. That's a 15% jump from last year. And topping that list is Toronto Maple Leafs, valued now at a staggering $4.3 billion. They're followed by the New York Rangers, Montreal Canadiens, Los Angeles Kings, and Edmonton Oilers. And joining us this morning is NHL Commissioner Gary Bettman. Good morning to you, Gary.
Good morning,
I'll
Andrew.
ask the first question. These are the CNBC valuations. What are the Gary Bettman valuations?
We're undervalued by CNBC. I love Michael. I think he does an amazing job gathering all the information. But this is as much art as it is science. If you were to put the Toronto Maple Leafs on the market on their own, they would sell for far more than the $4.3 billion valuation. But it's okay, because if you look at it, we're up 100% roughly over the last 3 years. So I think we're getting some credit, and I think there's become a more realistic understanding that as much as it is a multiple of revenues, it's also about the quality of product and cost certainty, and our system, I think, leads in that regard among the major sports.
Well, so one of the things that we were talking to Michael about is just that on a multiple level, it appears the NHL is now outperforming Major League Baseball.
Well, that
Do you agree with
probably
that?
doesn't make there are a number of markets where our teams go head-to-head with baseball teams, and our valuation is higher, which obviously isn't something that baseball is thrilled about. But again, I think while Michael does do an amazing job doing something that's rather complex, this isn't an all-scientific exercise, because even the valuations among teams in the same league that are based on a multiple use different multiples. And I'm not sure that that makes a lot of sense. I think each league should probably have its franchises using the same multiple of whatever they're doing. Having said that, the tendency, the trending is very positive, and I'm pleased about that. And so, you know, we move on, and the marketplace ultimately will determine if there's a sale, what the true value is.
Certainty, cost certainty.
How much do you think this should be about?
Go ahead, Andrew.
I was just going to ask about the media deals and how much you think whatever the next deal is in the U.S., how impactful that's going to be. We're also talking about the regional deals in Canada and how great they have been and what that looks like over time for you.
Well, the regional sports networks are healthier in Canada than they are in the U.S. at this point. But we had just done last spring a new national deal in Canada. We are coming off a 12-year deal with Rogers, which at the time and up until the deal we just made was the largest media deal in the history of Canada for any property. And the deal we just made is about 2.5 times that deal. So in terms of the importance of sport content, live programming in a fragmented marketplace, we're more than holding our own. We have great deals in place in the U.S. right now with the Walt Disney Company, principally ESPN, but with coverage on ABC. We're with Time Warner Discovery, and we'll see how that all sorts out if a sale takes place. But we remain bullish, optimistic about our future prospects, because the product, what's taking place on the ice right now, is incredible. I mean, the games, the league has never been more competitive. Our franchises have never been healthier. And I think that's reflected with the trending in increased valuations over the last 3 years.
Big question is NHL expansion. Mike Ohanian had been telling me off camera that, you know, he's hearing that maybe $2 billion has been pulled together for Atlanta. That's been mentioned as a place. Houston's been mentioned. Indianapolis has been mentioned. What are your thoughts on where the next team should go?
Well, my instructions from ownership are, if we're going to expand, and we're not in an expansion mode, it's got to start with a 2. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense. And people tend to say, oh, that's a lot of money. But you remember, you're selling off a piece of your overall equity in the league. So instead of, if we expand by 2 teams, instead of dividing national revenues by 32 teams, we'd be dividing it by 34. And there is an economic value to doing that. So, yes, it sounds like a big number, but when you put it in the context of the overall business and growth prospects, you were starting to mention cost certainty.
Yeah, cost certainty is a big issue.
That's something that I think, whether it's Michael Ozanian or Forbes or Sportico, I think over the last 2 or 3 years, they finally started focusing on the fact that as much as revenues are a driver of values, so is the overall structure. And our cost certainty system is the tightest of the 4 majors.
Part of that is because you were able to get salary caps.
Well, yes, and we paid a price to get it. We missed the season to do it 20 years ago, but we came back stronger because what you see on the ice, the competitive balance, the entertainment value, is extraordinary. And I think we have the best competitive balance of the major sports, and that's because we have a system that enables all of our teams to compete.
Just to make sure I heard this clearly, you're not going to do an expansion team for $2 billion, anything in the twos. It's going to take higher than that.
No, it'll be a 2 if we do it.
Okay. It will be a 2 if you do it. And is there a city that looks most promising?
We're getting expressions of interest. Lots of expressions of interest.
I got to ask you about Kalshi and Polymarket and this whole prediction market space. You know, you're moving into it with a partnership with them. How you think about that versus, DraftKings and FanDuel and everybody else on that side of things? And also, by the way, what you think of some of these cheating scandals and how you police all of this?
Great question. So we have aligned with the prediction market because we believe our fans need to understand that if they're going to execute those contracts, it's based on real data. But more importantly, it gives us control because we have the ability to take down any contracts that we don't think are appropriate. And that goes to the second part of your question. I don't believe our game is susceptible in perhaps the way that some others might be. I have confidence in our players and our personnel. But this is something that we monitor every second of every game. We monitor the betting and prediction lines, and you can't really get away with doing that kind of cheating anymore. And being aligned with either the sports betting entities or the prediction market entities gives you the ability to have more control and to observe more closely exactly what's going on. So I think it's more protective than anything else by having these alignments.
Do they all merge together, you think, in the end?
I think they'll morph. I don't know if you'll call it a technical merger, but I think they'll all morph together. And I think, whether it's FanDuel or DraftKings, they're looking to getting into the prediction contract business as well. So I think that's the direction that it's heading.